giving to you November 20th. Because I'm getting the Wayne County agreement rewritten, which was going to lift the economic development sanction we would have for $4.5 million grants. Because it looks like we're looking good for $4.5 million state grant, but if we get one, we take it away from the county. So the county's going to redo my deal.
We'll talk about that further. I will call you later.
So that way I can,
Yeah.
you know what I do.
I know.
Yes, sir. Anybody needs to take 60 seconds?
Yeah, I would love that. Is it all right? I just
Yes, it is.
love to run to the restroom.
Hey, Will. We okay? Okay. 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 We closed it. We have to reopen it.
Close the work study?
No, we closed that. I gotta close it. All right, when we come back in, we'll close it. Hi. Oh, I didn't recognize you in that big, huge mask. Didn't recognize you. Okay.
I doubt it.
Capiro. Hey, Dan. I got it.
I don't know. Will's calling me, but and it's a boy who lives in Denver. It's okay. But this time he said this goes out.
Probably when we start getting bills.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
And the bill that, the ASI. You got water? Bill,
I'm not sure.
okay.
Yeah, Larry will,
Larry.
yeah.
I'm bumping.
You up and about, man?
I'm bumping now. Okay.
I'm
That's
good.
what we do?
Yeah.
Hi. Hi, Randy. Hi.
Good.
Here.
It was hot in that room. I opened the door. It was like,
Yeah, it's chilly in here.
Regular session, yeah. We closed the work study. No, we closed the work study in there. Well, now we just had to we had to reopen. Okay. We had to reopen the work study, close it, and then go into.
you guys forgot last time.
So let me tell you what you gotta do.
Sir? Yes,
You
what do I do?
You gotta reopen work study, and then you gotta close work study.
We are reopening the work study. And now I guess I call for public comment. Is there anybody wishing to comment during the work study?
You gotta make a motion.
I have to have a motion to open the work study?
Need motion to reconvene the work study
I
session.
make a motion to reconvene the work study.
Support.
A motion, got support, all in favor? Aye, opposed? Motion passes. Now can I do a public comment and then go?
Yeah.
We don't do a lot of these. Okay, so I'm calling for public comment from the work study session, which is probably, so we can go out of this comment and go back. I know what you're here to speak about, don't do it here. Okay. Hearing nobody, anybody from the board? Hearing none, call for adjournment. Motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Got a motion for adjournment, Bud, it's supported by Boynton. All in favor? Aye. We are adjourned from the work study. All right, are we ready to go into the regular meeting?
Yes.
Okay. I'll call this meeting to order at 6:07. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We are being broadcast live over Van Buren TV and YouTube. And say hi to my friends, because I know some are watching. Clerk Wright, would you please call the roll?
Yes, trustee Miller. Tru- Trustee Boyne. Trustee Martin. Trustee Frazier. Treasury Bud. The clerk is present. Supervisor,
Here.
we have a quorum.
Okay. We had a closed session earlier, so we're now moving, hang on a second. We're still getting a little bit organized here. That's wise. I am missing sheets. All right, what do you got next? Executive summary, great. All right, today's executive summary. We're gonna have a consent agenda coming up where we basically pay all of our bills. We're then gonna be having a public hearing for Greenbrier Estates. It's a HOA that's wishing to borrow some money so they can redo their roads. And then we would put that money that they borrowed on their taxes over the next 5 years. We are then going to be discussing Kenworth, moving on to I-94. And we're going to be discussing a resolution for the Sumter Southside Road corridor plan. And then we're gonna be having, we're gonna buy a underground storage tank, above ground storage tank. We're also going to be voting in a construction contract for Iron Bell Trail from the city of Belleville up to Martinsville Road. And see some more Sumter Road mixed use stuff. And water main project. Sorry, we're usually better than this, but we had a lot of stuff going on. And we're gonna buy a truck. That's pretty much the overall of what we're going to be doing. Can I get a motion?
I make a motion?
Support.
Thank you. Got a motion and support for adoption of
Adoption
the agenda.
Right.
Hearing, got a motion, got support. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Consent agenda.
Next is we have adoption of the consent agenda. Who would like to take that?
I got you.
Trustee Boynton, would you take it?
I move that we accept the consent agenda of the following. Budget review meeting minutes of August 15th, special meeting minutes of August 16th, closed session meeting minutes of August 16th, election inspector payroll of August 2nd, 2022, and all the rest are of 2022, along with the prepaid list of August 14th, August 18th, August 25th, and September 1st, all of 2022, voucher list of September 6th, 2022, approval of attorney recommendations discussed in the September 6th, 2022 closed session, approval of the Smart Suburban Mobile Authority for Regional Transportation Group Transit Asset Management Plan for Smart Subrecipients fiscal year 2022 through 2026, and to consider and to approve of Resolution 2022-16 calling for the state of Michigan and county of Wayne to allocate American Rescue Act funds in support of Downriver Utility Wastewater Authority.
Support.
Okay, I've got a motion by trustee Boynton. It's got support from treasurer Bud for the consent agenda. Hearing no discussion. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Moving on, we're going down to the public hearing. Do I have to vote to go into a public hearing? I do.
I'll make a motion to open the
Thank you.
public hearing for comments on the assessment roll for Greenbrier subdivision.
Support.
Is that Frazier? Okay, is that a roll call? Or no?
No.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, we are now in public hearing. This public hearing is regarding the Greenbrier subdivision Special Assessment District. Anybody that's here would like to speak about the Greenbrier Special Assessment is welcome to come up and speak. John?
Evening.
Evening.
My name is John Herman. I know most of you know who I am. I'm here to represent the homeowners of Greenbrier subdivision. And prior to the final approval of this evening, which we hope to expect from the board, I'd like to go over a few comments to clarify what happened in the process and the procedure and how we got here today. So thank you for the opportunity. About 3 years ago, we had Fishback do a study of our roads. And they estimated that the cost would be between $740,000 and $940,000. And we started the petition drive. However, then COVID hit us, so we were delayed for 2 years. In early 2021, we started the petition drive again, restarted, we started all over, and we completed it in November of 2021 and turned all our information over to the township for the review and approval of signatures, and was approved. On April 8 of 2022, this year, Fishback did another road study for us, and now the estimate was 1.92 million to 2.41 million. That floored us. So we went out for bids on our own. We got a bid in, including commercial grade asphalt, restriping and resurfacing, and cement work for a total of $629,000. And the contractor proposed a 10% contingency fund. However, the board of HOA decided we do 20%, and that's where we came up with the $750,000. And that is the maximum amount that the township is now willing to pay for this road project. However, the HOA has saved $200,000. So the actual cost cannot be any higher than $550,000 for the total project. We cannot overrun that. That's the final that we have, and that's to be repaid to the township at over 5 years. So tonight, hopefully we'll fulfill all the obligations, pass the public hearing, and have a motion from the board to pass this so we can move on to the next phase. Our roads are 25 years old. They will not survive much longer, and the longer we wait, the more costly it will be, and probably cost prohibitive to even get it done. And then if nothing is done, they will turn to dirt. So in closing, I would like to thank the board, the two directors, Matthew Bass and Larry Luckett, and all the support staff that worked on it and did this work to make this happen. I appreciate your time. And now, anybody else has any comments, are free to come up to the podium. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Herman. Would anybody else like to speak? I see a lot of people from Greenbrier coming up. Go ahead.
Okay, as you know, the taxes already went up on the houses from the township. But there is nothing in the bylaws saying if we don't have enough money in the association dues, then we tax the homeowners. And quite frankly, I disagree with this.
And, you know, we are already in a recession. I'm Dawn Chappelle. I live in the Greenbrier subdivision, and I also served on the board as well for many, many years. And I also work as a volunteer for the DDA. And to me, I feel that there's other ways to try to get the money, because the taxes are already high. We are already in a recession. People are already struggling. We have people in our subdivision that's not paying their association dues. So what are we gonna do?
Yep.
And then you have so far as something to go around to have signature sign, and then you have 3, 4, 5 people sign in that, and that's not legal. If you have a neighbor that signed, then you got 3 people in that same house, but they didn't sign, it was just that one person. So they need to check the signatures
Okay,
on there.
they were checked by an assessor, and if the home was owned by a Mr. and Mrs., then both names had to be on the list. If only Mr. signed it and Mrs. didn't, then they were eliminated from the list, and they still had more than 50%, whatever number they had to
Okay,
have.
even if the same person signed it more than one time.
They checked for that.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Every single house,
really?
every single house.
Okay. Okay.
You have a majority of your homeowners that have petitioned this, otherwise it would be completely illegal. And there's a very set process that the state makes us go through, and including verification.
I want to know why the association doesn't have the funds for it.
It's not my job.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Why don't you have the money for it? Okay, because it seems like if we needed more, maybe the dues should have been raised for it. It'd have been a lot easier than a tax.
Me, I'm Mike Monroe, the president of the Homeowners Association of Greenbrier. Approximately 12 years ago, when I got on the board, one of the first things I did, because the association wasn't saving money towards roads, and we knew that we were going to have to repair them sooner or later, we raised dues. And the dues were raised $100 per year, $25 a quarter, from $75 a quarter to $100 a quarter. We have one of the lowest dues, homeowners' dues, in Van Buren Township among associations. We have at that particular time took that $100 extra per year and designated it solely for our long-term road replacement. And over the period of 1 year, we would save $17,000. And so we've done that now for about 12 years, which gives us about $200,000. This was not done by the earlier boards, and we started in a hole. But quite frankly, even if it was done by the earlier boards, we would never have reached the $629,000 it takes to do the roads. At some point in time, we were going to have to borrow anyways. We can't outsave inflation. That's the problem. That's the problem now. If we don't do the roads now, we're not going to be able to outsave inflation. Sooner or later, whether the township puts these funds on your taxes or Greenbrier Association itself creates a special assessment, all of the homeowners are going to be assessed. It's either going to be done by the township or it's going to be done by your board. So you're going to have to pay one way or another.
Question through the chair, if I may?
Sure.
Ask. I know HOAs are required, so are condominium associations, I think, to put 10% in reserve, if I'm not mistaken. It's either 10 or 20%. What does your reserve account look like? Wouldn't this money be used towards a project like this? Do you not have enough in reserves to cover it?
Currently, I haven't looked at the financial statement lately, but I believe that we have about $300,000, which again is unheard of for an association. We have that much saved up, but we have that much saved up because we are looking forward to the long-term road replacement. When we give you, when we pay back through the association funds the $200,000, we'll have about $100,000 left over. We would like to do that because we're going to have to seal the roads. We're going to have to do other repairs in the subdivision. So we will have we have to have, I think it's 10% of our operating budget, and our operating budget's $76,000. So we have to have close to what you say in reserves, but we will have that.
And what are your HOA, I'm sorry, your condominium dues are?
Our
What is
dues
it?
are $100 a quarter, which is $400 a year.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Herman, before you come up, I do have to ask of other, go ahead, just
Yeah,
first,
just to
short.
clarify the issue here, I don't believe our homeowners manual, the bylaws require a set amount to be set aside. Our earlier boards, years ago, when the sub was first initiated 25 years ago, did not save any money. They did not put any money in escrow for roads, and that's why we're here today. We didn't have for the first 15 years, I believe, they didn't save any money for roads. So that's why we're in a bind.
Treasurer Wright, Treasurer Clerk Wright.
I take treasure pay too.
Sure.
Okay, my question is, I'm pretty sure I already know, but, so Briarwood is it's not a public roads, right? It's private roads?
Correct.
It's all private roads.
So, private road, and to answer your question, I'm also, unfortunately, a homeowner association president. Homeowner associations are not required to save money. They're not required to put money aside. A smart board put money aside for future purchases, but it's not in the bylaws that you have to put money aside because a lot of them can't afford to do it. For the same reason why we're discussing it now. Most homeowners complain about the dues as they are. We are actually the cheapest dues in the township, which is $200 a year. We do put money aside, but we do special assessment when it comes to certain things that need to be done. We have public roads, but that don't mean anything living in Wayne County. It don't get repaired anyway. So we have to put money aside to repair those roads. It's unfortunate what happened in Briarwood, in Greenbrier, because of the conditions of the road. I've drove through there and looked at them since you guys came here. They are in bad shape, and they have to be repaired. So unfortunately, the alternative is that the president is correct. He would have to do a special assessment, which he has the powers to do so, or he's come to in retrospect, he's come to the township for help to lighten the burden of that by spreading it over your tax roll. $200,000 is still a lot of money that they have saved. I commend you for that. That's a lot of money. We don't have nothing. We don't have that amount of money in savings, but that's a lot of money that you guys have saved already. It's just unfortunate in today's world, everything has escalated in prices, and he's right. If you don't repair them now, next year or the year after, they're just going to get more and more expensive to repair. Either that or you be riding on, like you said, on dirt roads. That's unfortunate. We're here to try to help. Like the supervisor said, we don't have any recourse other than try to help you with the assessment role because the homeowner association is the lowest form of government in the county. So that's my take on it. It's something that's bad to hear, but in order to get the road fixed, it's pretty much is where you're at right now.
One more point of clarification, please. As a HOA, homeowners cannot borrow money for roads. Any lending institution will not allow funds to be collected by 176 homeowners. That's just a nightmare. That's not going to happen. So the only recourse we have is through the SAD or special assessment or anything. Thank you.
Would anybody else like to speak on this issue? Thank you.
Hello, I am Kelly Wright, and I have been in Greenbrier for about 7 years, since 2015, and I support this, the road getting fixed. It's an eyesore. It's just it's not good for our residents for our property value. So I'm excited to support this.
Thank you. Does anybody else like to speak on this issue, pro or con? Okay. All right, then I guess we can go back out of, I'm gonna ask one last time. Does anybody else want to speak on it? No? Okay.
I make a motion to close the public hearing.
Support.
We have support. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? We are out of it. We are now into correspondence, announcements, and presentations before we go back to the Greenbrier issue. And I have only one that I saw in here. Forgotten Harvest is moving. Forgotten Harvest is moving. Let's see, Wayne County Community College, they're gonna be moving to the Wayne County Community College District. We've met with the Wayne County Community College. They actually were excited to take it over. It's over on Haggerty Road. The new dates are going to be the first and third Tuesday of each month. The first and third Tuesday of each month. It starts Tuesday, September 20th. Tuesday, September 20th. We're building a community center. We had to move them. So we had to find somebody that had a lot of space for long lines because there's quite a bit of a line there. And this is a great thing. But I also have to add, we need volunteers. Put the word out. We're going to put out some ads because we really need some volunteers. We need volunteers for Meals on Wheels. We need volunteers for Forgotten Harvest. We've got a core group of people that are doing a wonderful job, but we really need some more help. You don't have to work, just like a couple hours every other week even, or just even a couple, once a month. It's just, give us a little bit of time here or there. If we can do 1 day a week, not even a day, 4 hours 1 day a week, that'd be awesome. But we really need some volunteers. We're stretched real thin right now, so. What?
Start date again.
Start date is starting Tuesday, September 20th.
And it's only going to be twice a month now.
It's going to be only twice a month now. Yeah.
Is that because of lack of volunteers?
I'm sorry, say again?
What Sherry just said, it's only, the time has been cut back. Is that due to lack of volunteers?
That is
How many
part of it,
days?
yes.
Okay,
Yes,
okay.
yeah. I have no other announcements. Anybody else? Nope. Okay, we're moving forward then. We are now into the public comment for the regular business, which would be if anybody wanted to talk on any issues that we are dealing with today, which include Greenbrier, they have another shot at going up again. Anybody? No? Okay. All right. Unfinished business, discussion on to consider approval for formally adopting the new hours of operation for the municipal building being 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Can I get a motion?
Supervisor, make that motion?
Miller, trustee Miller?
Support.
Support by Frazier. Deputy Supervisor Selman.
Good evening, Board. As Supervisor mentioned, this item is to consider formally adopting the new hours of operation from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Thursday and closed on Fridays. At the May 17th Board of Trustees meeting, the board approved a 3-month-long pilot program to modify the hours of operation and trying a compressed work week schedule. There were several comments from the board at the time about not being afraid to try new things for a progressive workplace experiment. And there was a preliminary survey done by our HR director among staff, seeing if there was interest by our staff to try a compressed work week, and there was a strong majority. The board instructed us to continue to gather data through the 3-month-long pilot, and couple surveys were conducted among staff and the public through building traffic and gathering data from all the different public members who wanted to share their interest. In your packet included was the survey that was conducted. This was the second survey. A similar survey was conducted earlier on, which had similar results, but this was the latest numbers that shows what the public sentiment was among permanently changing the work hours of operation for the municipal building permanently. And you'll see that you had 359 respondents, 80% that gave full support. There was 13%, 58 respondents that was basically indifferent or did not have an opinion on the matter. And there was 6.5%, 29 respondents that showed they were not in favor of the change. A follow-up survey among staff was given, which showed, and again, another strong majority that was in support of changing the work week hours to Monday through Thursday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Thursday. And there was another strong majority in favor of changing the work week hours. 83% was in favor, 12%, 12.5% was more or less indifferent, willing to go with the flow either way. And there were 2 staff members that were not in favor of changing the hours. So with that, I know that there was closed session discussion about other issues with changing the work week hours. And if there's any other questions about, there was a vigorous debate, and I do think there was strong support in both public and the staff members. And I can vouch that this was a big change in increasing morale over the past 3 months. I know that for a fact it also helped recruit, members for our team that were interested in joining our team specifically because of the 4-week work week. So with that, we'd be happy to take any questions.
Okay. No questions? Okay. All right, I guess if we have no questions, we do have a motion by Trustee Miller. We have a motion by, supported by Trustee Frazier. Hearing no further discussion. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. All right. We're moving on. We're moving on to the next item, which is the first item of new business, which requires me to ask somebody to make a motion to get me out of here, recuse me.
I'll make a motion to get you out of here.
Okay. Got a motion, got support to recuse the supervisor from the discussion. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you.
Don't go too far.
Okay, on the agenda is to consider approval of Resolution 2022-19 to approve the assessment roll for the Greenbrier subdivision SAD.
Support.
I have a motion from Miller. Do I have support?
Support.
Boynton? Okay.
All righty, good evening, Board. I'm before you this evening for you to consider approval of Resolution 2022-19. This is a resolution to approve the assessment roll for Greenbrier Subdivision Special Assessment District. The Greenbrier Subdivision Special Assessment District includes most roads within the Greenbrier condominium subdivision. The purpose of this SAD is to raise the funds of 100% of road construction costs not to exceed $750,000. This will round up to being $891 per year per resident, which is a total of, that will be a total of 176 residents within the Greenbrier subdivision. This would also include a 1.5% interest. And with that, I will take any questions.
Could you go over, through the chair, if I would, what the cost to the homeowner is?
Right.
And for how long?
Right, the cost is $891 per year over 5 years for a total of about $4,400 over the life of the 5 years. That's at the high end. It could come in lower than that.
Is it $891?
$891 per resident per year for 5 years.
And there's no way to extend that, correct? Past the 5 years.
No, not at this point. That's pretty much as far as the township go out on a loan.
Okay. And when would the first installment payment be due by the homeowner?
It'll most likely be the following winter year taxes. It'll be on your winter taxes.
So 2023 or 2022?
It'll probably be on 2023, because more than likely they will start construction, probably not too much this year.
Probably not this year. I know the whole HOA wanted to get this done as soon as possible. So I know we have a little of a 30-day window before it can actually break ground. So the sooner, the better.
I think that just.
Mhm.
ASI who is our contractor, has asked how soon they can start. So I imagine that tomorrow, I'm guessing permits would have to be secured. They could come in and secure permits. My question to you would be, I've been asked by them who they are to send all of the invoices to, and I'm guessing that's to the treasurer,
That'd be to me.
to you, okay,
Right.
to Larry.
Because he will sign off on them, and then it'll go through.
So I'll get your contact information after the meeting, and I can send that on to them. And then, I guess my other question is, are we good to, if you approve it tonight, are we good to proceed?
Yes.
Like tomorrow? Okay.
There is a 30-day grace period for any other residents that want to come forward and object.
Yeah, under state law, there's a 30-day appeal window past the approval of the roll.
Okay. So I have another question. We have $200,000 in funds saved up. Is it possible or permissible for us to start construction? Some of the construction was going to be curbing, which is minimal in cost compared to the milling and the 1.5 inches of blacktop that go over it. Is it possible for ASI to start construction on the curbing? Because we know that's got to be done either way anyways.
But don't
This
you
year or
need that
next year.
30-day grace period to hear from different,
We
for
have-
any
well-
potential residents that would want to come forward? How could we in good faith actually go ahead with construction before that grace period?
We can work in tandem in concert with ASI to just do the curbs.
Answer, though, I don't think as a board, we can
What I'm
forego
saying-
the grace period, can we not?
$200,000 that we are going to contribute to the project.
And I understand that, but there's a process, and yeah, I understand you have $200,000, but what happens if this board, for whatever reason, decides not to go through with the project?
Well, then we would, at the very worst, we'd have our curbs done that need to be done. Some of the curbing has to be done to hold the new road, to hold the bed. It has to be done so that the road will be.
I
And
understand
if
what you're saying.
if we started, and what the actual project is,
Your costs would not even
Correct.
be considered in with the rest of what we're doing as a township board. You would go ahead and, that's
AS
separate funding.
Single project.
ASI has told us, from what ASI has told us, they will fix the curbing first before they mill the roads, because they have to have something positive for which the road is going to go up against.
Project or two projects?
One project, but it's going to go a couple of weeks of curbing and milling, and then a couple of weeks of laying down the blacktop. It's going to be a month project altogether.
I understand your concern. I just would like to hear from our directors as if this is even plausible without going through the entire grace period.
Our only concern is, of course, the longer we wait, the more costs go up.
I understand that, yeah. We're all clear
To
on
get
that.
this, we want to try to get this done before the plants close, the blacktop plants close
Sure.
in November.
You're-
So
Bad
that's
weather's
what
around
we're,
the corner, yes.
that's what we're up against.
Yes. So, Director,
Yes.
can you answer my question, please?
Well, we can do some research, trustee, and figure out if that's even possible. Right now, I'm gonna say it's not, because I'm overseeing the entire project. And that's gonna be my contribution to the rest of the residents of your subdivision. Not to say you guys not gonna do what you're supposed to do, but I have to protect township. And is it a way for us to say that you're gonna go in, you're gonna perform the curb work at no cost to your residents, and then once the work start, that the township is gonna be responsible for overseeing as our cost, we need to figure out what's that total cost. So, I mean, the roads are bad. I totally agree. They need to be done. And we're here to support you any way we can. So we
Chair.
can definitely take a look at that, trustee, and get back to the board.
Through the chair. Please forgive me in this, I'm just trying to follow it, but it's my understanding that once this project begins, it's one project. I understand what the president is saying as far as wanting to get the curb work done. And you need to get the curb work done so that the road has something to meet up and hold on to. I understand that. But my understanding is that this is pretty much one project. And before you begin the project, there's the 30-day period in which anyone that lives in Greenbrier has a chance to come forth and say something. So even though by action of the board, if we take action tonight, the clock starts on that 30 days.
Tonight.
And you have to wait 30 days before you can do anything. And I don't think that you would have that huge of an increase in cost by waiting the 30 days. And I say that as, again, as Clerk Wright was president of his homeowners association, I'm president of my homeowners association. We also have private roads. We are also required in our bylaws to save X amount of percentage every year into our reserve fund. We also had our roads done in 2021. So I have a little bit of a basis in what I'm speaking here. I'm not as much of an expert as the two directors here. I'm not claiming that at all. However, I think that on the question of the 30-day period, you have to wait the 30 days before you stick a shovel in the ground and do anything.
But we don't have to prolong this. There's no way around and waiting the 30-day process. You got to wait the 30 days, which once we vote tonight, it starts September 6th right now. So October 6th, you can start work. So you would have to wait the 30 days lapse, unless you're going to do two separate contracts and you have him do the curb work and you pay for it from the association monies. But that would have to be taken away from whatever we're signing tonight.
Have to be through their association, have to approve that.
That couldn't be part of it.
Is that something we can do, separate it, make two different contracts?
That's between you and ASI.
Okay.
Yeah.
And your
your
HOA.
association.
An HOA, so if you want to start work right away, you had to make that agreement through ASI and say you can do the curb work, we'll pay you for that. But everything else that we are approving tonight has to wait the 30-day time limit.
I mean, just to verify, I'm sure that the $200,000 is not part of what's in the tax to the residents. It's strictly the other money that's gonna take care of the roads. So the $200,000, what the board decides they're gonna spend it on could
Would be
easily
yours,
be
yeah.
separated from this. I mean, it is one project, but the residents are not being taxed for that part.
Through the chair. I think that would be something that they would have to take up with their homeowners association, to be able to allocate those funds for that curb work to begin. Now, I don't think that's a decision the township can make. I think that's what they have to decide between them and their, association. But our approval was for the special assessment district, which, for the numbers that have already been stated.
Yeah.
So the amount that we're approving tonight is an assess of the 200,000. If I'm understanding right, the amount that we're approving, putting on the assessment roll is over an assess of the 200,000 that you have saved already? That's the cost of the roads?
Isn't it calculated in?
You're gonna assess us $750,000.
And the total cost of doing the roads was what?
The total cost was given to us as 629. We built in a 20% contingency to get $750,000.
Include-
Ideally, in an ideal world, it would, 629,000 minus our 200,000, we would only be assessed 429. Obviously, we don't live in an ideal world. There's gonna be cost overruns. There's gonna be cost increases, and there's gonna be some other things that, quite frankly, ASI said when we get starting to mill, we're gonna find some things that need to be fixed. Some storm drains, maybe some of the main under layer of the road is bad, more so than they figured. So that's why we built in a 20% contingency.
To the chair, so now I'm confused. So the entire project is $649,000, you said? Or $750?
$629,000 is the cost that is the bid by ASI that we're gonna go with.
Your association has $200,000, so that means the township is only gonna be loaning the association,
429,000.
right,
Ideally.
right, without the, you know.
I'm sorry, through the chair.
No, I'm sorry.
You're-
Wait a minute, wait, I still have the floor.
So he's saying that, from what I'm understanding, we have $200,000 reserved.
We aren't going to be able to hear if you don't come to the microphone, please.
Well, we're,
We don't need,
Oh, wait, your turn.
you don't need all that, do you?
So what are we
You don't need her to come
approving?
up.
What's the assessment roll?
what I'm saying is, if the project is X amount of dollars and the association has $200,000, then their liability to the township is $200,000 less than what the bid is.
Right.
So if you want to separate the project, then you have to talk to your board about that. I don't think we have the authority to, the rule is that you have to wait 30 days. This is a single project that's been presented to us as a single project, so we have to handle it as such.
Right.
And you're gonna have to wait the 30 days. If we approve this today, as it's written today, then you're gonna have to follow the rules. And I don't see any other way around that.
Because it was presented to us as a single project, one project.
Now, if you want to come back and present it a different way, then that's fine too, but as presented to us today, this is what we're voting on, and this is what it is. So you have to follow the rules, whatever the state rules are. As far as a 30-day period, then that's what we have to abide by. I don't think there's any question, or I don't think there's no getting around it.
So my question is, to the board, is how much money are they trying to get from the township? Because from what I'm thinking that we have total of $200,000. We were gonna take that $200,000 and give it to you guys, so that's less money that we have to actually owe the township, which was $600 and something thousand, or the amount of money. So you take the $200,000 away, and therefore the 200,000, that means we're gonna only take $400 some thousand from you to fix the roads. That's what I'm trying to understand. So that's not what we're doing, or what is it? He want to use the $200,000 for the curbs and then still get 600 from you guys.
The way I understand it, through the chair, is what you stated, plus what you left out was the 20% contingent. Now, to me, that's smart. So you kind of have to add that in there as well. And the board has agreed to that also. But now we're talking about,
Splitting it.
yeah, now we're talking about cutting off the 200,000.
Take it out.
If you do that, then they're going to have to do, just as my colleague said, they're going to have to go back to the board, go back to the association, and have that discussion with them. We are prepared to take action on what we are ready to prepared to take action on.
And what
We
did you
just want to
agree
make
on?
it clear. We just want to make it clear. You got to wait the 30 days.
Mhm.
That's the point that I'm listening right now. You have to wait the 30 days in order for the action to take.
Yeah. What,
Money that we have,
well, the trustee, I think that's set, that we have said that, I think trustee Miller said it, I've said it, you said it.
Yeah.
Trustee Martin. So, what we're being presented tonight, you have to wait the 30 days. If something comes about between discussion with the directors and the supervisor and the ASI later, it's out of our control, but what we're voting on is the 30-day wait period for the special assessment tonight.
Is there any way that we can get different quotes other than just this one quote? Is there, I mean, where we can find a cheaper company that will come in and,
I think we have passed that window.
That has been done. They did go out for quotes, so that has been done, ma'am.
okay.
Okay, just a quick question here. I'm Edward Hawkins. I also live in the Greenbrier sub. And I may have heard wrong, so I'm definitely going to stand for correction. It stated that this project was to do most of the roads in the Greenbrier subdivision. And if that's the case, we're doing the assessment of $829 over the 5 years to our taxes. It appears to me, well, I think it sounded like we wasn't getting the whole job done. And now the question about this $200,000, and is this company ASI not doing the curbs? Is that something, so almost like we're not getting a complete job for the stated amount of money that they're finna borrow from the board, from the township, that they're finna assess me on my taxes? Because there's still some things that need to be done that's probably gonna bring me another cost down the road.
When they're doing the curves, what he's trying to do is get them to start as soon as possible, which would be next week, tomorrow, if possible. That's what your president is trying to get them started as soon as possible. What we're saying is that there's a 30-day, according to the SAD, it's a 38 wait period. So that would be fall around October 6th before they could get started. That's the question. I think all this and completed. Yeah. All this included what stated in the SAD, that the curves and everything. What your president was inquiring that could he use 200,000 of the saved funds and start the work now versus waiting 30 days.
All right, I think he said, and that 200,000 is going to be made available for this project, whether he starts it early or whether he presents it.
Correct.
Gentleman stated here that that's contingent money, so that's where we consider that it might not be 891. 891 was the highest number. It may go down lower with some reflection of this 200,000 that the association said they already have. Is that what we're hearing?
Yes.
Okay. I just need that to definitely be clear. So, and you mentioned about the 30-day window. The 30-day window is just from now to October, and the residents, if they have any concerns, need to contact the homeowners association and voice their complaints. That's not to come to this board at all, right?
Well, they would contact the directors.
If I may.
You may.
Thank you very much. So that's a opportunity to appeal to the state tax tribunal just on the format of the roll.
Right.
So that's by state law, by the public act that defines everything we're doing tonight. There's always a 30-day window to appeal to the state tax tribunal. And I guess I'll add, in the meantime, there's another step that the township will take once the price is finalized. A warrant form is prepared by the clerk's office to give to the treasurer's office to finalize the actual final tax amount. But that
cost.
Yep, and that 891 was basically a not to exceed amount if the project is at that maximum of $750,000.
So I just want to get that real quick. You talk real elegantly. That's nice. The that 30-day window is for something higher and above, it has nothing to do with the residents.
It does. It gives residents an opportunity to appeal to the state tax tribunal.
To the state, okay, not to the homeowner association, we passed it already.
That's right. It would go, we can talk with, if you have questions about that, we can coordinate with our assessor's office and determine exactly what steps anyone would have to take to do that.
Okay, gentlemen, can we wrap this up, please? Okay.
I just have a question regarding the taxes that the homeowners are going to be taxed. Are we going to be taxed on the total project, which is $600 and some thousand plus any extras, or are we going to be taxed minus the $200,000?
Whatever the total cost was, it's my
Cost-
understanding.
Even with the $200,000, we're going to be taxed on that also?
No.
Okay, that's what I want them to make
No.
clear.
The total cost of the project,
Total cost of
less-
the project that the township loans us.
just let, the total cost of the project, less $200,000 will be what will be taxed to the residents.
Okay. And that's what broke down for 5 years.
Correct.
Okay.
And it will be on your winter tax bill.
I just want to restate that we have asked for the $750,000, which that is the max that we now get. Minus our $200,000 leaves a balance of $550,000, which includes the 20% contingency fund for the roads. So no matter what, it will not cost you on $891. It's never going to happen, but this, in case you find a sinkhole or something really spectacular that is unforeseen, either in the Fishback report, the engineering firm, we covered all bases to get it done right in the first place. The contract that we specified, ASI, is for $629,000. That includes everything, and they suggested to add 10% contingency for stuff they run into that is not in the contract. However, we put 20% in there, and that total comes down to $750,000, minus our $200,000. It doesn't matter how we spend it, it's going to be spent on the roads. So it comes off of the $750,000. So at minimum, it'll be $550,000. That's a whole lot less than $750,000, but that is the max we can go to. Everything so that it can be done and done properly. We've already included the extra cost, $20,000, I believe it was, for asphalt that is commercial grade. Not residential grade, commercial grade for the roads. Anything clear I can address here? Board?
Okay, no, I think we're good. Thank you, John.
Can we vote
Thank
on
you,
this
gentlemen.
one?
I think we have a motion in place by Miller, seconded by Boynton.
Frazier, right?
Oh,
No?
it was done.
Okay.
To consider Resolution 2022-19. Is there any other questions?
We got enough questions.
Is it a roll call?
Let's vote.
Huh?
Let's vote.
Is it a roll call?
No, it doesn't have to be. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The same motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you, board.
Other stuff. Good job. Yeah, thanks.
The supervisor can rejoin the meeting, please.
Dan, get,
And 8 more to go.
He's got him.
Huh?
He just poked his head in when I said that. He's got him. He's coming.
Okay, right? We're good?
Yeah, we're longer than needed. Okay.
Line item number 2, discussion, consider Kenworth. Can I get a motion?
I need the motion to be excused from that meeting.
Fine.
Okay, can I get a motion to excuse Treasurer Bud?
Moved.
Okay, I had a Miller and a, was that Boynton?
Mm-hmm.
Excuse why? Because we would now rent that property for the farm, and we will no longer have it.
Okay. Just wanted to know.
Okay, I have a motion to excuse Treasurer Bud. I have a second by Boynton. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you, Treasurer. Okay, can I get a motion for approval of the Kenworth site? Miller,
Where is that on the?
number 2?
Engineering standard.
What's that?
No, Kevin, that's incorrect. That's to consider approval of the variance from engineering standards manual to allow construction of a stormwater detention basin. Which one are you
That
referring
is Boynton,
to?
that is Kenworth, isn't it?
We don't
I don't see
I'm
that.
sorry.
We're reading it.
I'm sorry, I just,
me make
I
that
live with this
motion.
stuff so much, so.
Okay, number 2, I'll make that motion to consider approval of a variance from engineering standard of the Van Buren Township Engineering Standards Manual to allow construction of a stormwater detention basin that has a permanent pool of stormwater that is less than 4 inches deep?
4 feet.
4 feet?
Support.
You gotta speak up, too.
Thank you. Director, please save me.
That was well stated. This is a request for a variance from an engineering standard in our engineering standards manual, which is section 6A1B of the Van Buren Township Engineering Standards Manual, to allow the construction of a stormwater detention basin that has a permanent pool of stormwater that is less than 4 feet deep. And if that sounds familiar, it should be familiar. That's technically the same request that you recently received for a different project. Just as a reminder, the Board of Trustees is the authority to consider waivers or variances from the township's engineering standards, which are a little bit different from ordinances, and they're not handled the same way as maybe a zoning variance would be handled. So the board has the role in considering deviations from what we have in our engineering standards manual. As a reminder of this site, Kenworth, otherwise known as CSM Industries Incorporated, is moving into the space between the Camping World and the National RV site at 44660 North I-94 Service Drive. It's going to be a 63,000 square foot truck sale and repair facility. And this is under the approval of a special land use that was granted by you on the board in November of 2021. So that's a little bit of the history of the site development here. The township engineering standards require a 4-foot deep permanent pool for settling of sediment for any stormwater detention basin. Kenworth seeks relief from this with some justification based in the functionality of the pond that they're trying to build. They make a claim that having a deeper pool of water makes it harder to see what's underneath and harder to maintain the piping. They also discuss that there's some aspects of the stormwater management on their site that can compromise the ability to display new vehicles, because if you have something that attracts waterfowl, it can cause some nuisances for new vehicle inventory. And just as a bit of a context for that claim, you can see that Camping World here to the east and National RV to the west, neither of those have at least a visibly deep detention basin on their sites. So I don't have the full history on the National RV site, but I know Camping World has proposed to use an underground detention system for a little bit of context. The applicant has also claimed that the overall detention that they're providing, where the stormwater goes in a rain event, will be met and actually exceeded. They're proposing to have about 225,000 cubic feet of storage in the pond that they propose, even though it's a little bit shallower than the standards would require, whereas they're required to only have about 185,000 cubic feet. So they're exceeding the actual detention standards. Our township engineer, as part of the final site plan review for this project, recommended that this could be acceptable to the board as long as the applicant provides what he calls directed flow with a sloped pond bottom for this pond. So it can't just be a flat basin. It's got to have some slope on the bottom to drain the water to the outlet. I do think Mr. Brickman of General Development Company is here in the back tonight. He represents Kenworth and the applicant, so if you'd like to hear his justification for this request, I'm sure he'd be glad to share that, but otherwise I'm here to answer any questions for this.
Are there any questions? We just approved this same design for the community center. Hearing no questions, I have a motion and I have support. Hearing no further questions, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. All right, next item. Sumter Road Corridor Plan. Can I get a motion? And could you read it?
Through the chair.
Yes, sir.
I make a motion that we approve the resolution 2022-20 to approve the Van Buren Township 2022 Sumter Road Corridor Plan, which is an amendment to the Van Buren Township 2020 Master Plan.
Support.
Thank you. All right, Director. Director, you're going to be dealing with line item number 6 later on, so try not to go too long on this one. Sure. Okay? Because I know you're going to have to redo it again.
Yep. So thank you, Board. And additionally, you've reviewed this full plan at the March 1st meeting. We released this plan for a distribution period to the neighboring communities as required by state law. And at that time, there was a pretty lengthy summary that I gave, so hopefully we don't need to go that long this time. I do have Adam Cook, our planning consultant from McKenna Associates, who really led the production of this plan, here in the audience if you have any other questions. But just briefly, when we started this planning process about 1.5 years ago, one of the big questions that was being asked was whether commercial and industrial would be viable south of Hull Road. But then as we started to open up this process more, we were answering much more significant questions and getting into some more productive solutions for the area. So the answer to that question, based on public input, was broadly no. People want to see south of Hull Road remain largely rural, but at the same time, we realized we hadn't reviewed Sumter Road in depth since the passage of the 2006 Southside Master Plan. And what we found is that because zoning defines how you can use your property, property owners, business owners along this corridor were relegated to very specific uses based on the way that their properties were zoned. So this plan really presented an opportunity to open up those uses and look at new ways for people to redevelop and reuse their properties. So we did an inventory of some of the existing conditions in the area. We noticed that there were a lot of businesses that were vacating, both in the city of Belleville and Van Buren Township. We went into significant public input. We had 5 public meetings before we even distributed this draft of the plan back in February. One of those was a open-air workshop last summer that you see a picture of. And then we really started getting into the vision of the plan, which was, again, to start to see ways to reuse property and open up new paths for people to move in and use their space creatively. We looked at specific areas that we needed to address, like preserving the character of the Rulo subdivision, looking at different development patterns south of Hull Road, and looking at different ways to deal with the property all along the corridor. What this resulted in was a set of future land use and mobility recommendations. The biggest thing that this led to was the creation of what's called a Sumter Road Mixed Use Future Land Use District, and that's what you see kind of in this light blue on the image here. down at the intersection of Bemis Road and Sumter Road, but also at the intersection of Hull Road and Sumter Road, and then all the way up to the city of Belleville. So what this is a vision for a mixed-use district where you're not necessarily bound to a specific zoning. You don't have to do a commercial business or a service business just because you're zoned commercially. You could rezone to a Sumter Road mixed-use district that allows you to use a variety of different buildings in a variety of different ways. And one of the other recommendations was a mobility plan that starts to chart a path forward for the future road connections of roads like Rulo, Bach Road out to the west, if there's a future development in that area, kind of laying out a path for future development. As the supervisor said, there was a recommended set of zoning ordinance text amendments that I will speak about later. The zoning is really the way that this plan gets implemented over time, so I'll speak about the zoning a little bit more in depth on that item on the agenda tonight. But I'm really proud of our planning commission, of our board, of our residents, and all the people who contributed to this planning effort in creating the Sumter Road Corridor Plan, which is one part of really getting more specific in our master plan and modernizing parts of it for the benefit of the community. So with the board's approval, we will adopt this plan as a vision for the next 20 years, but to be revisited every 5 years. We always check plans every 5 years under the state's Planning Enabling Act. If things aren't quite working right, we can always recalibrate. But overall, it should be a good long-term vision. I encourage your questions, and I'll leave it at that.
Any questions?
I would just like to make a comment to the supervisor. Dan is right. Dan worked a lot of hard hours on this. We also want to thank Adam, who's in the office from McKenna and Associates. They certainly outdid themselves along with the Planning Commission, and they always were, I thought, very prompt about reading it and having their questions. And I think we've got a good plan now. We've definitely spent a lot of time and answered a lot of questions. So thank you to both of you gentlemen.
It was a great thing. You brought the neighbors out. You've developed a very nimble plan where the people that live there and the people that own those properties can, you know, if they want to have a home office, they want to have a home business, if they want to, you know, they've got a really nimble zoning system there where they can feel it out to find out what works and maybe bring some life into that area. So we're very proud of what you've done. It's a lot of hard work, I know. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion by trustee Martin and we have support by trustee Miller. Hearing no further questions, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Director. See you in a few minutes.
Thank you very much.
Okay, next is to consider approval of selection of metal products for our new 8,000-gallon split fuel tank. Can I get a motion?
Supervisor, I'll make that motion to consider approval of the selection of Stan Wade metal products.
Okay, and Clerk Wright. Director?
Yes, good evening again, Board. This is to approve the selection of Stanway for the purchase of an 8,000-gallon split fuel tank, which will consist of 5,000 gallons of diesel and 3,000 gallons of gasoline. This works in the overall plan for the community center, which we will decommission our current fuel tank, relocate the new fuel tank to the water tower area. This is the only purchase, the fuel tank only, and the delivery of the fuel tank. Because it's such a long lead time, we went on and put this in front of the board up front prior to the infrastructure plan being finalized. So that's where we are.
The board in its budget last year approved up to $400,000 for this item and the stuff around it, because there's gonna have to, I mean, this is part of it. We're gonna have to build a road back into there and a lot of other stuff, but this takes a long time to get.
And the cost of this tank is $56,595.28.
Any other questions?
Through the chair.
Trustee Martin.
Is this an above-ground tank?
Yes. Galvanized steel. Wall, cat wall, so we won't have to do the painting that we do every couple years on our existing tank. All the new standards, requirements, all the bells and whistles.
It was bid out.
Through the chair, what happens to the old tank?
The old tank will be decommissioned and we'll sell it.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, hearing none, I've got a motion by trustee Miller and supported by clerk Wright. Hearing no further questions, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Item 5, please.
Through the chair.
Clerk Wright.
I'd like to consider approval selection of Erie Construction LLC for the VBT Iron Barrel Trail Selection H project, in addition to project engineering costs for a total project construction budget of $367,440, and to authorize the supervisor to execute the agreement.
Support.
Okay, Director Renault.
Good evening, Board. So back in 2019, Van Buren Township received a Michigan Natural Resources Trust Fund grant for $300,000 for the Iron Bell Trail Section H. This portion spans from Edgemont Street in Belleville to Riggs Park in Van Buren Township. So included with that grant was a $100,000 match from the township, making the total project budget $400,000. So since that time, we've spent some costs, about $44,000 on engineering, construction drawings, and the easement acquisition process over the past couple of years. So because of COVID, the project was finally put out to bid August of 2022. We received 2 qualified bids for the project, and Erie Construction LLC was the lowest bidder at $319,036. We conducted reference checks on the firm and received only positive feedback on the contractor. And we have Ken Cruz tonight in the audience representing Erie Construction.
Okay.
So for this board action item, we're requesting approval of both Erie Construction and then also project engineering costs. So I'll just walk through the budget quickly for the project. So the actual hard construction cost is again at $319,036. We are going to add a 10% design construction contingency, I apologize, for $31,904. We're still going back and forth a little bit with Wayne County Engineering, and there could be some slight tweaks to the project. So obviously, if we don't spend that money, it'll come right back to us, but we just want to have a budget in mind for that. And then $13,500 for construction admin from PEA and material testing as well for $3,000. Again, with our previously expensed funds for $44,000, that puts us at a total project budget of about $411,000. But keep in mind, hopefully, most likely that construction contingency will come back to us. And there were some slight changes to the original project scope. There was some requirements from the DNR to put a couple of trash cans and benches and that sort of thing along the route, but after talking with the residents and looking at it, we're going to actually place those items right on in Riggs Park at the end of it, so that way no one has trash cans and benches right in front of their house. So that accounted for a little bit of the additional monies as well. Is there any questions?
Any questions? I will make comment, this is more to the YouTube world and the Van Buren cable TV people. There are a few, and I mean like less than 5, I think, holdouts that think that they don't have to sign the easement and that they won't have this built. We're building it, and we're coming across your property. And we're just going to have to change it and move it a little closer to the road on your property. It will be built. The pathway will be maintained by Van Buren Township, but not the pathway in front of those people that didn't sign off on this. They'll need to shovel it. They'll need to watch it, to take care of their pathway, although we'll probably end up doing it anyway, and they will be liable for it. So if you think that you're going to stop this pathway by not signing the easement, which a few people think that they can do, we're coming through. There's a bulldozer coming. So I'm just warning you.
And we've reached out to those
We have, but they seem to think that they don't want people walking in front of their house. And they seem to think that this is going to stop them. And it's not. It's just gonna mean we're gonna design the path a little bit different. It's gonna move over 2 feet and they're gonna have liability for it, whereas we were gonna maintain it. You know,
They should get on board.
I wish they would. I'm hoping they will when they see how beautiful the pathway is as you design it going through there. It's the Erie construction, so, yeah. All right.
Start.
Starting construction pretty soon this fall, with just some cleanup items and punch lists in the spring.
And are you doing any other sections of Iron Bell this year?
Yep, section B.
Which is?
Which runs from Rawsonville Road in through Van Buren Park, which we awarded that contract, and we're hopefully setting up a groundbreaking for the end of September for that one as well.
You have another groundbreaking at the end of September.
Yeah, we have a few. Just a couple projects going on.
All right, is there any other questions? I have a motion by trustee Miller. I have support by clerk Wright. Excuse me. I have a motion by clerk Wright, support by trustee Miller. Hearing no further questions, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much, Director.
Board.
Through the chair.
Clerk Wright.
You're not used to hearing me, I'm about to do another one.
Okay.
To consider approval of the first reading of ordinance 09-06-22, parentheses 1, to create the Sumter Road mixed-use SRMU zoning district and Sumter Road overlay district SROD, and related zoning ordinance amendments.
Support.
Okay, you too. All right. Okay, we've got it. Director. All right, this is a first reading of an ordinance. Does this require a roll call or just a second reading?
First reading.
Reading.
Both do.
Both do?
Roll call.
Okay.
Or the second reading.
I thought, that's okay. That's what I thought. Okay. Director, take it away.
Board. As the Planning Commission released the draft of that Sumter Road corridor plan that we talked about earlier tonight, the vision was pretty clear, but there needed to be details drawn out to really make sure it made sense for everybody. So the way those details got drawn out were through the zoning ordinance. And the more that the plan was kind of tweaked and finalized, the more the Planning Commission realized that they needed to start to activate this set of zoning ordinance amendments that would allow the plan to be implemented. So I mentioned earlier that the plan resulted in a creation of what's called the Sumter Road Mixed Use District. And that resulted in a Sumter Road Mixed Use Zoning District. And that's something in wonky planning terminology is called a form-based code. And what that really means simply is that you get to have a wide variety of buildings. You're not as bound to the typical constraints of zoning in terms of the uses that you have, so long as you have buildings that meet the character of the district. So that was really designed to allow people to use their land in a variety of different ways for a big array of different uses, as long as they met the form that was meeting the intent of that Sumter Road plan. So the Sumter Road Mixed Use District requires what's called a regulating plan, which means that depending on where you are within the district and what your lot is like, so whether you're on a corner or on one of the shallow lots that front on Sumter Road, one of the deep lots that front on Sumter Road, or one of those lots that are back to the west behind that Sumter Road frontage, you have 4 different ways that you can use a mix of buildings and have a mix of uses on your property. So in this example here, you see what's called a deep frontage lot on Sumter Road. You can see here that there's kind of a layering of different uses you can have. You can have a home up front, which many of those lots are still single-family homes. You might have an accessory dwelling unit, and then you might have a small workshop or small place where you can have a home business out behind that. So as long as you do that in a way that responds to the building types and architectural forms that the plan was calling for, then you have a variety of things that you can pursue on your property. That being said, there were some very specific limits on the different uses that you could have in this district. it was meant to be a district that doesn't invite a lot of heavy manufacturing or heavy industrial uses. So you're not going to see machine shops or heavy stamping facilities or anything like that along Sumter Road. The Planning Commission was pretty specific about drive-throughs and avoiding having typical drive-through style development. But if you look in the text of the zoning ordinance, and it does take a while to chew on and look through, but if you look in that section, the new section 3.121, there's a whole table of, pretty big table of permitted uses and special land uses that you can have in the district. And as long as you're meeting the form of those buildings in the district, then you can pursue those. So that's basically how this district is set up. It's set up format-wise in our zoning ordinance very similarly to our existing mixed-use district. The only difference is that that existing district was meant for Belleville Road, which is more of a kind of a traditional suburban downtown corridor. This is more of a rural corridor, so the building types and the uses that you see here respond more to the rural character of the area. The other aspect of the zoning recommendations that came out of that Sumter Road plan were what's called, as the clerk said, a Sumter Road Overlay District, or SROD. And the Planning Commission is very familiar with applying the BROD on Belleville Road. So the Sumter Road Overlay District, or SROD, really just creates a uniform feel as you're driving or walking or biking up someday, biking up Sumter Road, where there's specific landscaping requirements and some architectural treatments that the developments have to have along that road to meet the ordinance.
Okay.
I think that really sums it up. You can dive in. It's a big ordinance. Feel free to ask me if there's any questions, but that's basically how that's meant to work. So people can rezone to SRMU and start redeveloping their property as soon as this is adopted after the second reading and after the newspaper publication.
Any questions? We just handled this twice today, so we're all good? Okay, I have a first reading of an ordinance with Clerk Wright and Trustee Miller. Do I have any questions before I call for a vote? Hearing no questions, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Next item, Director?
Through the chair.
Yes.
To consider approval of the contract, to consider approval of the first reading ordinance 09-06-22, parentheses 2, regarding identifying gasoline service and filling stations as a special land uses.
Support.
I'll give Frazier.
Go ahead.
Thank you. All right, Director Powers.
This one's even simpler. Gas stations are known to be pretty intensive land uses that generate a lot of traffic, and many communities regulate them as special land uses, which means that they have to have a public hearing and both either their planning commission and either their city council or board approve them when they come through. In Van Buren Township, up until now, we have not regulated gas stations that way. They've been what's called permitted uses by right, and they go right to the planning commission in the zoning districts that they're permitted in, and there are not public hearings involved. So we wanted to be more in line with what many modern townships and cities are doing and define specific requirements for gas stations and make sure that they go in front of the planning commission with a public hearing so that nearby property owners have a chance to voice their concerns on gas stations and that the board has a chance to review them as well. So this would not affect any, we have a couple of really active applications for gasoline stations right now. This would not affect those applications, but in the future, this would make it so that there's a public hearing and a special land use approval for any gas station with specific requirements that are in this set of ordinances. So I'm glad to answer any questions about this one as well, but I would encourage its passage.
We're not anti-gas station, but we're going to make darn right sure that it fits the community where it goes. Any questions? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Trustee Martin, you want to call the next one, or you're right, or who do you want?
Through the chair.
There you go.
To consider approval of contract modifications with the Michigan Department of Transportation in the amount of $58,989.70 from line item 592-536-970001 for the Den Road Water Main Project.
Support.
Bud, okay, it's getting fun. Okay. Director Lawrence.
Good evening, Board. Considering contract modification for the Denon Road project, this water main project was put in place to create more of a loop to minimize water main break. However, the allotted amount was $220,577. It exceeded that due to the extra amount of drilling that was required for the HD pipe, the 12-inch, which led to more restoration and more concrete work. So that's why we're asking for the contract modification in the amount of $58,998.70.
Any questions? Nope. Did that close out the job?
Yes.
Okay. That's been a long job. Okay.
Big job.
All right, hearing no further questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. All right, next item.
Supervisor, number 9, to consider approval of amending the 2022 amended budget account number 592-536-970-000 from 36,993 to 47,000, and to approve the purchase of a Ford F-150 from Atchison Ford at a cost of $46,819.44.
Okay, Director, I'm going to take this one.
Okay. That's a point.
Yeah,
And to give me the keys?
they give you the keys. Okay, so we have an interesting problem. It turns out that the money that is used for the state bid prices is a fund, and that fund is now spent down to zero, and therefore there is no state pricing anymore on these things. That includes police interceptors. Ford is considering honoring the police interceptor prices, but we're not even sure if we can get the 3 that we ordered in January this year. We do have the right to turn this truck back and order one for 2023 and hopefully get the state price in 2023. But we are now told that they are thinking that because they're in such a short supply, they will not have any state prices next year. If we turn this one back, we go back into the queue and we wait when we order it in January, whenever you order the 2023s, Kevin will know better than I do. We go back into the queue and we wait until they make the 2023s and they get down to our name. We are 3 trucks down right now that I know of. I'm getting to the point that, I'm starting to think we need to start buying these trucks. In fact, I'm at that point. I brought it forward because we've been waiting for trucks now for 9 months. And
they're going up, that's what you're saying.
they're not getting cheaper, and if you don't take them when they come in, then you gotta order again in 3 months and wait again. So I don't know. You probably know more about this than I do. Well, GM's gotta be the same way.
I don't know anything about their ordering. I don't have anything to do with that.
I will say that we did find a Dodge Charger, and we are now buying a Dodge Charger for our police. So I can't get the Explorer Interceptors.
So you're
We
getting
can't.
the Charger because you can't get,
I can't get police intercept. I can't get Ford Explorer Interceptors.
all right.
So, any questions? I'd let Kevin Lawrence answer this, but he probably doesn't even know why this thing's up here like this. Will you approve this in the budget? Normally, we don't have to bring this before you. We do bring it for you because I've agreed that I would always do that. This one, you really gotta approve because it's more money than you approved in the budget.
Right.
So,
Not much we can do.
nobody does. All right, okay, I've got a motion by trustee Miller. Who supported that? Bud?
Right.
Okay. Okay. And then, okay, any questions?
No.
Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Thank you, Director. Reports, you'll find your 2022 financial reports all in there for April, May, and June. We are now at the public comment section of the non-agenda items. This is for anything the public wants to bring up.
I think we missed item 11.
11, I have 9 items. But then again, I was a little bit off. What? What is your item?
Nope.
Okay, it can wait?
It was the dual resolution
The dual resolution for what?
to use American waste opera funds to do a repair on the downriver wastewater.
Okay, we took care of that.
We did?
It was in a consent agreement because we knew nobody would argue with it. Yeah, okay. Taking other people's ARPA money and letting them spend it on this stuff for us, we're all for. I'm sorry, we're at reports. We did that. Public comment. Anybody from the public wishes to speak? Oh, no? Dawn? No? Okay. Anybody from the board wishes to speak? No?
Motion to,
Adjourn? Right? Hearing no discussion, all in favor of adjournment? Aye. Opposed? We're adjourned. Gosh, I had trouble today. All right. Long day. Yeah, thanks.
Where's your cardboard?
Thank you. Thank you. I needed it. I was running out of gas. Actually, it was pretty helpful. It was helpful.
So we're all done.
yeah, it was.
I was tired.
It was gonna be long. I like.
We got through it.
That's the most motions he's ever made.
Motion in one day.
All right.
Sherry.
I gotta get out of here. Sherry, thanks a lot.
Yeah,
You're
no
being a trooper,
problem.
I know that.
I am trying.
You are, I know you are.
Whoa.
I'm gonna roll you down the stairs?
No.
Okay.
Okay, get this.
You want to make the motion?
Okay.
No, go ahead on.
I know.
All right, Calvin, see you later.
All right.
I see Merrick Burghoff is gonna get 10 months.
Indifferent either way. Okay, I was just, okay.